Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 6, and this is going to be my review for Episode 1 of Season 6, otherwise entitled Into the Void. So of course, if you have not watched the episode, go watch it because massive spoilers ahead. There's a lot to talk about from this episode and what's coming forward. Of course, if you watch the episode, why not drop a like on the video to show your support and just your excitement that The Flash is now back. It would be awesome if you could do that. And let me know in the comments section down below your various opinions on what we saw in the episode and what you think could come in the next handful of episodes as well. So last season, I'll just recap the end of it. Obviously, we had Nora disappear or die or fade from existence, whatever you want to call it. She's gone, so obviously everyone's dealing with that loss. Cisco is no longer Vibe. He was cured. That was a long story going on last season, so we're seeing, I guess, the after effects of that. And also, we had the date change on the newspaper article. We didn't get to see it, but it is revealed in this episode, which we'll go over later on, obviously. So yeah, we do start after last season ended, right after it, I think like 5 to 10 seconds after it. So there's like a power surge in the time vault. Like everyone was wondering, okay, what's going on here. Some people did think it was the monitor that was showing up. It did see people like preempting that on social media, but it's just Gideon short-circuiting, and it actually fries Nora's message. So this is a big impact for Barry and Iris because that's the only thing, I guess, that they could use to see Nora again that they had. So that's no longer a thing. So it definitely affects them. Now, even though we actually just, started 5 to 10 seconds, after last season ended, we have a time jump straight away. So we go 4 months ahead into the future, decent time jump straight away, and we get straight into business because who's there and who are we dealing with? It's Godspeed. Godspeed appears in 2019. Obviously, we'd seen him in Nora's future, and the Flash appears. Barry's like, yo, I'm going to come here. I'm going to take him down right now. But this actually wasn't the real Godspeed. This was the fourth Godspeed that they've taken down, I guess, since the end of last season. And when they take off the mask, it's not August Hart that we saw in the future. And this person isn't making any sense. They're not speaking English. They're just making these weird noises. It's really weird. So where is this going to go? You'd have to think this is explained later in the future, or is this something to do with the monitor doing it? I don't know. I have to wait and see. But a big thing to come from this, I guess, that some people didn't even notice, I noticed, but that's that Camilla knows that Barry is the Flash. So that was revealed in the off-season. Now we do head to a Flash family barbecue where Ralph is not there. He's on assignment elsewhere, which we do find out later. But the mental augmentation chamber, or the MAC, Return of the MAC, is brought up again, and it basically increases cognitive abilities, and Barry's, if it's in use with him as well. But you can see there's just like, I guess, not unease, but just like not everyone's acting normal. I guess like maybe Joe and Cecile are the only normal ones there in regards to like how they should be. But yeah, I think people are just still dealing with what's just happened in like the several months before. But we do get to meet the new character for this season, that being Ramsey Rosso. Now he is at his mother's funeral, his mother being called Rachel, and Caitlin is there. That's our like segue into being at this funeral. So Caitlin is a friend from med school with Ramsey now. I think we're just left to assume, that she was just invited to the funeral by Ramsey because of what he wants to do later on. But we do get to see Caitlin's like not controlling her Killer Frost side that well. That Frost is sort of trying to like barge down the door, if you want to call it. So there is unease within their relationship as well. But we do get the entry point to the main threat for this episode when Iris goes to retrieve a jacket, Nora's jacket from the dump. Now Joe had actually just thrown it out. There was like a box of Iris's old stuff there, and Joe just threw it out. You think maybe Joe would have told Iris, like, ask, I'm going to throw this out, do you mind? But apparently that's not a thing. So she goes to the dump to get the jacket, and that's when the first black hole appears, and Iris actually loses the jacket into the black hole, which is a bit of a bummer moment for her, obviously. But obviously the connection to the dump and the black hole gets unveiled or unreeled or just unpeeled later on in the episode. Now we do see Ralph Dibny return just after the family barbecue, so you just missed it, Ralph. You missed out on a good feed. But he was actually in Opal City and beyond. I think they mentioned like Peru and Morocco, like Montenegro or something, like other places like that. But he was actually on a missing persons case for Sue Dearborn, who obviously we saw at the end of last season on that file that Ralph got. So he's been doing that ever since, I guess he got that file. Now, obviously, if you don't know, Sue Dearborn is the future Sue Dibny, aka Ralph's future wife. They have confirmed that she's actually not appearing till the back half, I think. So I'm guessing throughout the season, he'll just get new leads to finding her, and then it'll be like a big reveal or a big mission, I guess, when eventually she is found. Now, we do get that like fierce conversation, if you want to call it, with Ramsey Rosso with Caitlin, where he essentially just calls his own mother a coward, that she didn't even like really stand up and try and fight her illness and disease. And we get to see some like simulations for the cure for HLH cancer, which is what killed his mother and what will most likely kill him eventually as well. You can look up HLH cancer if you want to on the internet. It's like hemo something. I can't remember the actual complete name of the illness and the cancer, but it's a pretty crazy, disease or illness, if you want to call it. Yeah, it's pretty lethal. And it's pretty graphic, if you want to call it, in regards to what it does to your body. But the bonding agent that he wants to use for his cancer is that of dark matter. Now, that's why he's reconnecting with Caitlin Snow, because obviously he's got that, that path into, giving him that stuff. Obviously, Caitlin refuses because there's just too many bad things that can happen there. And along with this, Ramsey just gets pretty pissed off. I think Ramsey's going to come back into it. Maybe he'll be like, look, Caitlin, I'm sorry that I blew up last time, because, he sort of achieves what he wants to get, I guess, by the end of the episode. But, yeah, those black holes come back into play as a black hole opens just outside of Jitters. Not in Jitters, just outside of the door. As if it was almost going to come in and grab a coffee for itself. So this black hole almost takes Caitlin in there. Caitlin's actually calling for Killer Frost to pretty much come out and help her, but she just doesn't. She hides away, essentially, so Barry actually comes in and saves Caitlin right at the last minute, which is obviously good for Caitlin, and I guess Barry as well, that it wasn't affecting his mind that he let his friend die. But speaking of Barry, he was being very over positive, if you want to call it, especially after both of the black hole events, when Iris was almost sucked in and when Caitlin was almost sucked in as well. Now, I think we're just left to assume that this was his way of dealing with the loss of Nora, and it was sort of evident when the black hole, the plan of action to take down the black hole comes up, where he just says, I don't want to lose anyone else, and stuff like that. So we do get a scene between him and Iris, which we'll go over in a second, which sort of hammers that home, but you could, Barry was just acting weird, and I'm pretty sure most people would have picked up on that. But we do get to meet Chester P. Runk, who was a streamer or something, I guess a YouTube sort of Twitch streamer guy, who creates the black hole emitter device. Now, he's not been since that particular stream, outside of being reported to be going to the hospital afterwards. Now, Iris and Cecile actually meet him at the hospital, but he is in a catatonic state, so there's no luck getting a response. He's basically he's there, but he's not going to be able to respond. He doesn't react. Now, we do get a scene between Iris and Cecile where it's basically her dealing with the loss of Nora and sort of opening it up. And this leads to Iris figuring out that Chester is actually causing the black holes. And we see him tapping the finger on the desk that was zapped by the first black hole. I think that's exactly what that finger he was tapping. But we do find out later on that the black hole is one side of his brain. So that's why he's not there, but the black hole could be elsewhere doing its own thing. So that was a big reveal. But we do get two good scenes in a row. We get a scene with Ralph and Killer Frost, where basically it's just Ralph, getting through to Killer Frost about what's been going on with her and Caitlin, which we're going to see play out, towards the end of this episode, but also in future episodes throughout this season as well. There's a very good scene between those two. And we also get a very good scene between Barry and Iris as well, where basically they're just dealing with what has gone down over the past several months as well. This scene was building up, and I thought we'd eventually get it in this episode, and we did, and I think it was worth it, because I think it was a pretty good scene between those two. But just speaking of Iris quickly, just a side note on what's going on in the episode, I can tell she's already going to have a good season. Now, Eric Wallace, the new showrunner, is taking over, and you can actually see that he actually cares for Iris as a character. The last showrunner or person involved in a showrunning position that cared about Iris was Andrew Kreisberg. You could tell through the writing. Now, he left, was fired, and it's a bit ironic, I guess, that he cared about a female character, seeing what he did that got him fired. But it's ever since he left, Iris has just been in this, I guess, almost like a black hole of just, there's just nothing going on with her character. But since Eric Wallace came in, has had some effect on the show, you can see her growing, and now that he has full reins on the show, you can expect Iris to have a pretty damn good season. I'd be surprised if she faltered in any way. So, Iris fans, if you enjoyed it when Iris was being written terribly, I can't imagine how much you're going to like it when Iris is actually written well. So, if anyone complains about Iris this season, they just hate the character. They don't actually have any valid points, because I think she's actually going to have a decent season. But back to the black hole. So that opens over Central City. It's obviously not good. Not good news for Team Flash and I guess the residents of Central City. Now, they do something pretty interesting here. They need some a computer or some technology from the future, and they actually use Nora's gauntlets, or one of her spare gauntlets, to help take down the black hole. Now, it was wired into Barry's new suit. Now, I guess that's just the origin for Barry's new suit. It just, Cisco made it so he could wire this stuff in there. That was really weird. They didn't actually give any other reasoning for Barry having the new suit outside of Cisco wired the gauntlets into it. Did they? Let me know if they did. I don't think they did. That's just all they said. Because earlier on in the episode, which would have only been like a couple of days before this scene, he had the Season 5 suit. So, anyway. But throughout this scene, the Flash Gordon song by Queen plays, which I thought, well, it's fitting. It's Flash, why not play it? But, you know, the whole scene plays out. We do see Chester reconnected with, I guess, the other side of his brain, if you want to call it, from the black hole through the mental augmentation chamber that comes back into play. And he's actually going to be chilling in there for a bit, just until he's back to normal, because his eyes were sort of freaking out. Now, we do see Ramsey at the grave of his mother earlier on in the episode, and he actually buys a weapon, essentially off the black market, which has dark matter in it. And towards the end of the episode, we do see him take the dark matter out, mix it with his like sort of simulation cure, and inject himself with the test cure. As I said, he would have HLH, or eventually would get it, or already has like the starting symptoms of it. And essentially, we see that blood work is now born, and I guess we're going to see the. I don't know if we'll necessarily see it next episode, because next episode is really crisis orientated. But we might see little things of Ramsey next episode. But I think episode 3 and 4 will be the big oh, here comes blood work type of episode. So it was good to see that they're just getting the ball rolling. They're not wasting any time at all, which is good to see. But the final scene of the episode, which I think was the scene that a lot of people were waiting for, because I'm pretty sure most people that just have Twitter or watch YouTube knew that this was going to happen. We actually have Barry and Iris. I was surprised Iris is there, but we see Barry and Iris meet with the Monitor in the Time Vault. Now, the Monitor destroyed Nora's message, so that, you know, connects back to the beginning of the episode, and essentially he just wanted to take away hope. So both of them were pretty annoyed, but that's the reason he gives. And it's actually revealed that December 10th, 2019 is the day that Barry is meant to die. Now, for those that need the info, December 10th, 2019 is actually the Flash episode for Crisis. So that's the actual date. So who knows what's going to happen in that episode then. But essentially he tells Barry that he can't survive in order for everyone else to survive. That's basically his destiny, to die on that day and help basically avoid what's going to happen, or that's meant to happen, in the Crisis event. So we're going to be seeing the after effects of this meeting in next episode, and I'm sure until Crisis actually goes down. But overall, I thought this was actually a really solid episode, and actually it's one of the strongest, it's probably one of the best season or episode ones or season premieres for The Flash that we've had. I wouldn't say it's the best, but it's definitely up there. And just tying in Crisis towards the end is really interesting. And just moving forward with the Bloodwork stuff I thought was great as well, because they've only got 8 episodes to go through the Bloodwork arc, and pretty much I think episode 2 is not going to have too much Bloodwork in it as well. So I'm excited to see what comes in the next couple of episodes, or at least the first half of the season until Crisis, and what they do with the Bloodwork arc. And I think this first episode was a great starting off point. But yeah, guys, if you enjoyed the video, it would be awesome if you could drop a like and it shows support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on what we went over in this video. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.